every single time I try to give Joseph something, every time I try to give Joe his 10s, I just put out a video of Paul Wives talking about how much he changed. Every time I'm slapped in the face. I'm trying to understand, how did we go from this, right? How did we go from this?
What I saw on that video, as horrific as it was, lends a lot of credence to anything horrific I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's the uncomfortable spot. Well, it's all uncomfortable, let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he was unaware of some of the things that were out there about him, that real niggas is just running around saying, nah, it shit sounds so crib. When you hear about people blowing up cars, it sounds like some movie shit.
Mm-hmm.
I need footage. I need something. When you start hearing about some of the other things we've heard about, I think that video allows for everything to be back on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we've ever heard about Kim Porter, may she rest in peace, is back on the table. The rumors about ABUSER are back on the table. All of the violent stories that niggas refuse to believe because of who he is and what he has meant to the culture. After seeing that,
I want to understand how we go from that, which is May 24th, 2024, to this for today.
Artist under Bad Boy, them talking about their experiences working with him and just basically how they ended up broke and he ended up rich and they've ended up destitute.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying is when we're talking about calling somebody a piece of shit, there's various reasons various means in which somebody can determine you're a piece of shit. That is one of them.
But at some point, it's time to show and prove. At some point, we can't just take the conjecture, and make it match.
Right, like we sit there and say Puff a piece of shit for the contract shit. Y'all sound like, you know my stance. Y'all signed these contracts.
You signed it.
Also, that's not a jailable thing. This is all stemming from he should have been in jail years ago, but like that's not jail work.
If I legally robbed somebody, I'm a piece of shit for that.
For sure.
If I took advantage of Mel's situation, Mel sleeping on somebody's couch, right? Mel can sing her ass off. I know Mel can sing her ass off. Mel goes on to make $10 million.
Sorry,
even though nobody could prove until they saw it.
But even the video was a misdemeanor.
I was about to say, Mel, even the video, it's a domestic violence charge.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. I saw him kick this 90-pound girl on the ground, my nigga. It's horrible. Any one of us had the sister that was getting kicked on the ground. I'm not caping for him at all. I'm just saying, dog, like we can't give a nigga life in jail because we saw, in my opinion, because we saw him.
Well, that video and his lawyer.
So what I'm confused about, right, is how is it in the first video, which was a year ago, you, Joseph, you said out of your mouth, I just played it, you said out of your mouth that video of Cassie lends to all conjecture and everything is now put back on the table about what happened to Kim, what happened to this person, what happened to that person. That all of that now is under the microscope because of that video. Now all of a sudden it's just conjecture. It's all conjecture now. It ain't that bad now. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I never, ever, and every time he says it, I'm going to get right back on here and drag him. I never, ever want to hear Joe sit on this fucking pod and ask why people think he's an abuser, why people think he sides with abusers, and what people really think about his character. Because what I will say is that very first clip that I played, if you go a little bit more into the episode, what Joe ends up saying is, I was more so thrown off on what people thought that I was going to say. It makes me look in the mirror of what do people think about my character? What did they think that I was going to come in here and say? That That right there is exactly what people expected you to say. And when the verdict came out, you want to know what? Your own fucking fans, was in the Joe Budden TV community saying how much you bet 9 times out of 10 Joe start fucking backpedaling when a new part comes out now that he's guilty. And what did y'all do? Backpedaling and pussy popping in a fucking handstand. And you wonder why people think that you're an abuser or an abuser sympathizer. You side with Tory, you sided with DDG, you sided with Diddy. Who else are you not gonna side with that's a fucking abuser? When have you yet to side with somebody that's not a fucking abuser? My thing is, you can disagree with what the prosecution put up, as charges. That's one conversation. But the conversation went from that to that. To now, we go from everything being on the table to now it's just conjecture. And going from he's a lying piece of shit, I can't believe him till, well, people do change. And I believe that people should. Let's just call a spade a spade. And I put this up on Twitter months ago. Let's call it what it is. Joe sides with abusers because he falls under the fucking category. Period. Point blank, period. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that Diddy was being called out for is the shit that Joe fucking does. Financial abuse when it came to Cassie, Joe does that. Flying out escorts, Joe does that. Having freak offs with your girlfriend, Joe does that. So if Diddy is guilty, right? As the girl Ashley said on his show, the problem is that the way y'all looking at it is, if he's guilty, then what the fuck does that say about me? It's nasty work. It's fucking nasty work. And Ice and Ish, y'all are more fucking nasty because y'all have daughters. Y'all have fucking daughters. Let that be your fucking daughter. Nasty work. Nasty work. I never, ever want to hear Joseph ask why people categorize him as an abuser or an abuser sympathizer. If you can look at yourself on Podwives and see why people think you're trash, if you can't look at yourself now and literally listen to what I just played at the top of this shit to the bottom of this shit, to the second clip, and not see why people believe that you're an abuser sympathizer, there's nothing to talk about. You're fucking trash. And I stand on that. It's fucking trash. You niggas are backpedaling the same way niggas was doing when it comes to Drake. Y'all niggas is backpedaling. Now that nigga is found not guilty, Joe is on here like, they tried to say he was a sex trafficker. That's what they tried to say. He was. Just because it's not guilty, this is my thing. Y'all niggas pick and choose when y'all want to listen to the law, and you fucking don't. Tory goes to jail for that shit, right? Oh, but the law is so fucking wrong. Everything is so fucking wrong. But Diddy gets off, and now the law is right. Which the fuck one is it, bitch? You're a fucking abuser sympathizer. There has been that clip, the first clip that I played was the first time anybody has ever even seen you step out full-heartedly and go against domestic abuse or people that are accused of such. Since you've done nothing but fucking cake for these niggas. Why? Because this nigga is getting out of jail now? Now all of a sudden, oh, he wasn't that bad. I don't know if he should get life. You know what I'm saying? We only know. It went from, and if you go through the first clip further, he said as he continued, we know off of that one clip, like he said, that has been done multiple fucking times. So you go from, that clip shows me that that's not the first time. And if she tried to leave, then she couldn't. It goes from that to, well, we only know for sure of one time. We only know of one time. The flip-flopping is crazy. You're an abuser sympathizer, and it's really just that fucking simple. You're an abuser sympathizer because you fall under the category of that shit. And just because you may have changed, Joe, just because you may have changed, that don't mean that everybody else does. And to sit on this fucking pod today and say that you believe that this nigga changed when you sat there and said about that fucking apology video that you knew it was bullshit. You knew he didn't change and that it was full of shit. What the fuck changed between now and then other than the fact that he was found not guilty on 2 charges or 3 charges? You niggas is looking for a favor, for niggas to try to be like, oh, I wasn't necessarily jumping in on you. That's what the fuck y'all niggas are looking at. Flip never surprises me. We already know how Flip is. Flip, we put him in the hole. But for you to constantly complain about how people look at you and then sit on a pod and say that, I don't give a fuck who calls you an abuser. I don't give a fuck if people, I love Sade. I don't give a fuck if people call Sade stupid. Look at how you conduct yourself. And then turn around and ask us why we look at you like you crazy. It's the same reason you won't bring Chris Brown on your fucking show. Because you know what the fuck everybody gonna say. Look at abusers. Supporting abusers. Where was Mark? Trash. Get that fuck boy out of here. Get him out of here.